right. So, session number 1, we already had. Session number 2, we already had. This is session number 3. Today's date is April 12th, 2020. So, no matter if you're watching this today or if you're watching this 5 years from now, hopefully this will still be a relevant conversation. All right? So, this is what we're going to do. And we got people coming in, and I'm just going to be letting them in, but we're going to go straight into it. First question of the session 3 quarantine panel is, what are the most effective ways males and females can create, that's 1, and maintain, that's 2, joint projects from start to finish? And if don't nobody say nothing, I'll get mine first, but the goal is for everybody to, the goal is for everybody to be, to jump in. And again, imagine that little girl on that couch. Imagine that little boy on that couch. Imagine that family that's going to see this and hear some type of information that's going to change their trajectory of how they deal with male-female relationships.
Not sure if we muted or not.
Nah, they not. And again, all you got to do is do a hand signal too. We can get all the way creative.
Are we not doing the bio piece first? No more. We're not doing that any longer. We're just going into the questions.
We'll do it at the end. Jason. Mm-hmm. We'll do it at the end.
Since the flow, since we're flowing already into that.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, since I'm on, I'll just say my piece.
All right.
So one of the things that I think is most effective in my world in dealing with or in doing joint projects.
Is that music? I'm sorry. Is that music?
Oh, you can hear that?
Yeah, it's showing up a little bit loud. But I think it's dope though. You might have to turn it down a little bit, but it's
okay.
It's dope.
Well, then somebody else go, because I got to go across the room and do it.
Oh, that's a big room.
Sorry.
Okay. Anybody else? What are the most effective ways males and females can create and maintain joint projects from start to finish?
I think the first thing to do is joint either male, female working together, that you need to develop the goals together. I think that's the first thing. You need to identify what is my lane, what am I looking for, what is my goal, what am I trying to achieve, and then as well as the male, I think that both of us coming together with our goals, identify a list format or paragraph format, it doesn't matter. Just something to say, this is what my goal is and what is your goal. Let's try to mesh that together. Sometimes it's not going to mesh together. Therefore, should we really go into business together? Probably not. So I think that that's very important. Identify what your goals are, list them out. What are you trying to create? But other than that, I think that makes things successful. Not just doing something to do something, not just getting together just to get together because y'all together in a relationship. That's not that important. You're going to fail.
Thanks. Okay. And I got some questions for you, Regina, off of that. And again, if nobody chimes in, we can go on. Cici, you ready? Okay.
So my response is similar to Regina's, but I would say, first of all, I think relationships are like businesses, and in both business and relationships, if you can identify the biggest picture of the whole thing and then work backwards from that, well, first of all, identify what the big picture is, agree upon it, and then make a commitment to it. And if both parties commit to it and then work backwards with creating the plan for it, then along the way, when you run into roadblocks or challenges or even disagreements, I think it's easier to get back on track if you guys have made the commitment and you go back to the bigger picture. And you know, I mean, that's a simple explanation. I know there's a lot that goes along with that, but in my world, that's what I do in every area, is come up with what is the biggest picture, what's my biggest motivation behind anything that I do. And every time I find myself off track, I refer back to the bigger picture.
Okay, so this is Davide's door. Get it going. Okay, so this is what we gonna do. I got 4 questions that came out of that, and hopefully somebody can chime in and we can take this where we need to take this. So Regina said goals. I just want to see if we can take it to another level. Goals versus your assignment, your current and future assignments, and can we merge them? Can we merge your goals and your assignment? That's 1. 2, I always tell people this all the time. If you want to get to know somebody, do a business project with them. Because even in school, right? In school, you knew the lazy people, right? Let's just take high school. Forget college. Let's take high school. You knew the lazy people, right? You knew the athletic people. You knew the gangsters. You knew the nerds. You knew all the different groups of people, right?
Okay. Yeah, you probably want to before you put your brand together with them and do a project, you don't want to find out who they are before you start doing it with them. Like, you know, like let's just say this is hypothetical.
Facts.
Let's say my brand is you know, I want to promote like adult entertainment and you know, of a stripper nature or sexual nature. And then there's somebody else who they like my following, they like the attention that I can grab, but that's not what they want to do. They want to, I don't know, they just want to reach another set of people. And if we get together, it's too late to be, you know, figuring out if they like it or not once we already then put the project together and the wheels is moving. You know, it's too late.
Facts. No, tell me what you think about this, because I love the point you bring up, and I love what you bring. First of all, I respect what you do. You play in really dope movies. We're going to definitely unpack that later on, but I love the way your mind goes and just general conversations. So tell me what you think about this. So in school, we know the lazy people, the gangsters, the athletic people, the blah, 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 right? But when they grow up and have sex and have kids, their kids only know mommy or daddy, right? They don't know the gangster, the lazy person, the whatever that, you see where I'm going, right? They got to understand it. So the only reason why you knew about a lazy person or whatever, because in school, you have assignments and you have tasks, right? So, but watch this, it has to get done at this time. I don't feel like it. It's all good. Sit back and look how they get their work done. Look how I'm working right now. So again, this is how I work in my assignments. Or, hey, Alan, what's up, man? I know you want to be 5 days early. I've already created a team, research team, blah, 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 blah. We can get this project done 5 days before. You got that student. Then you got the student, hey, it's all good. Let's cram. We get it done at the end. If your eyes work the right way, according to assignments, behavior follows, right? So all we have to do is create assignments. It don't have to be real deep business, but it could be business assignments. Stuff that you're going to have to do anyway. Give it to them, and you just sit back, because a creator is going to be a creator according to who they are. So you just literally look back and be like, oh, do I want to create with you? What are your thoughts on that, bro?
Like checkpoints.
Facts. What are your thoughts on that, though? Like literally, basically saying I'm not going to get into a relationship. I'm not going to get into a marriage unless I'm doing business with them, or I do a business partnership with them, or a small project. I don't care what it is, so I can know what I'm dealing with, because it's kind of hard to hide creation behaviors and creation emotions. You know how many people who have dope talent, they be like, man, I'm too tired from work to do that. And the younger generation is waiting for them to do that talent, but they tired from work. So literally you get to see people's creation emotions and creation behaviors and creation planning and all that stuff. Because that's what they do at work. for other people's creations. What are your thoughts on that, CG? I think it is. Here we go.
I'm sorry, Alan. You can go ahead and respond to that. You were asking him originally anyway, right?
Yes,
No,
but it's open. It's open too.
Yeah, you go ahead. You go ahead.
I was just gonna say I really love that concept so much because it does show you a lot about a person and how they maneuver through situations in life and even projects, and particularly it's an indication of how they would maneuver through a marriage or a committed relationship. Like you said, if you guys have a project on the table, are they on time? Do they honor their commitment? Do they follow through on the project to the end? And you get to see where your strengths and weaknesses are and who needs to step in at what time. If the other person is, not good at sales and the other one is, but I mean, that's business strictly, but it really tells a lot when you do business with someone. And I think that is a good indication of how someone would behave in a relationship.
Facts. Because again, tell me if I'm wrong, because I'm all about, again, what are the most effective ways the males and females can create and maintain joint projects? What if the first joint project was each other's assignment?
Yes.
Would y'all ever get bored with each other? Would you ever get bored with each other?
That's it's a vetting process when you do business. Like I think the young ladies that spoke first, when every interaction, whether it's marriage, business, girlfriend, friendship, all of those are relationships.
Facts.
So, and like you don't call nobody I ain't gonna call nobody my friend unless they've been vetted and tested, and I say these are the qualities that I like, that we've been through this, they've proven that they can do this, and we're friends. Somebody else, that's my homie, because they haven't been proven to be the friend, to be that relationship. And most people don't get married unless you go to some type of counseling. Yeah, you do the dating process, and then you start, let's go to counseling. Let's see where we match up. Let's see what we agree on. And if we don't agree on these things, let's see where we can compromise on. Let's see if we even still want to do this union. Mm-hmm. So, like a lot of these big corporations, when they merge up and one say, I want to buy you, even though they need the money and they buy it, they can still deny it because I don't like how you're going to run it when you take it over. I don't like your concept. I don't like your vision. I don't like where you want to take this company. So I think vetting is all the process.
Facts. So I heard you say entrepreneurship, right? So in relationships and friendships. So literally, those are three boats that I like, because at the end of them is like a ship, right? That'll help you sail away. So again, the entrepreneurial ship, the relationship, and the friendship is a boat that we can create during this quarantine, right? Because everybody got that time. And even if you're an essential worker, besides the medical field and some other fields, you still got a little bit of time. But like I said, those real essential workers, like the medical fields, it might be a little bit too hectic for them. They just need support. But that's just my thoughts as far as maintaining a project. Because if somebody's lining up with your destiny, could they get on your nerves at home? Just say y'all was even stuck in one room, but they're lining up with your destiny. Would you be like, man, I'm tired of hearing you talk? Shut up. You don't say that. You say, give me more. Please, give me more. You're talking about my destiny, and it makes sense? And it makes sense that I'm at home? Because watch this, though. I'm bored. My body needs to go somewhere. What happens when you give a child a phone? What does their body do? Your destiny will do your body the same way. It'll do your body the same exact way. So let's go into this one, though, because this is another one that's near and dear to everybody's hearts during this quarantine, because I really believe it's the last one. Who is struggling the most during the quarantine? Males, females, or children? Now, before y'all say anything, Y'all have already graduated. Y'all have already did y'all stuff in sports. Y'all have already went through school and finished and did everything. So it's easy to say, man, I'm cool. I'm kicking back in this quarantine. I need this. It's so easy for somebody a certain age to say that versus, man, I got all this energy and I got to stay in the house. What? Anybody can take that. Anybody can take that.
Wow, I think I think even though the parents got the larger burden of it, if you're a male or female, you have the larger burden because children are children; they don't have any responsibilities. Mm-hmm. So hell yeah, it's people still paying $175 and up for daycare per week, and their kids ain't even in daycare. Wow. That's crap, but that's another topic. You got it's just a lot that's going on, but you can't go to graduation. You can't play sports. Some seniors need that last year to get better recruitment up. Hell, graduation is the thing. Prom is the thing. Like prom, my prom memories are everything. My graduation is everything. My senior year, the things that you do in school, like the socializing, like they missing out. And I don't see it coming back no time soon. It's harder on them, but the burden's on the parents.
Facts. Wow. Anybody else? That's facts, though.
Yes, sir, Brother Jason. Peace. How you doing?
Peace, Brother Thomas.
Man, peace to everybody inside of the on the panel. I would say that whoever isn't utilizing this quarantine to the best of their abilities are the greatest sufferers. Mm-hmm. Because even with the children have an opportunity to improve themselves the same way the adults have an opportunity to improve themselves. And of course, as a student, you're going to miss prom. That's a big one. You're going to miss walking across the stage. That's a big one. However, as a parent, you're going to get to know the child that the teachers know. That's a big one. But at the end of the day, the parent and the child have an opportunity to build a greater relationship than they had prior to the quarantine. At the end of the day, the child has an opportunity to improve their character by watching their parents, the positives and the mistakes of the parents. So we all have an opportunity to improve during this quarantine time. So the biggest losers are those of us who are not utilizing this time and making most of this time to become greater individuals, whether you're a child or an adult.
Okay, Brother Thomas, I got a question.
Yes, sir.
You sparked the... Okay, here we go. So you said not taking advantage of this opportune time, right?
Yes, sir.
So, again, Brother Thomas, I got a lot of time on my hands, though. But again, you're saying, take advantage of this opportune time. Can you answer this for me? Does time fly when you know yourself or when you know yourself better?
Does time fly?
You know how they say time flies when you having fun.
You're having fun.
And I'm like, when I know myself better and all that stuff, which again, what do they say when you do a job that, you don't think is a job? But again, does time fly when you know yourself?
I think time, in my humble opinion, I would say time moves more gracefully when you know yourself, because the more you know yourself, the more you take advantage of the time that's presented to you. So we all have 24 hours a day during this quarantine time. And if you're not an essential worker, majority of those 24 hours is spent inside of the home, unless we're making essential runs. So during this time, we have an opportunity to improve on whatever skills that we have. We have an opportunity to research those businesses that we want to start. We have an opportunity to study whatever scripture that it is that we read out of. We have an opportunity to become an overall better person. Unfortunately, in the society in which we live, we are also consumed with having a responsibility to come up with some capital, to make some money.
Absolutely.
So if we are one of those employees, or we have one of those small businesses that has been affected, extremely affected during this time, now this is still a time of opportunity. There's a story, not to take up too much time.
Do your thing. Do your thing.
There's a story that a preacher it was in a book, but a preacher was having this story, and he was having dinner with two Oriental men or two Chinese men. And so they had asked him, why do his people, he was a black man, why do his people seem to be on the bottom in every society that they go? And so he said, when they asked him, when they posed the question, he posed the question back to them. He said, no, you all tell me, why do you think that my people are on the bottom wherever you see them on the bottom at? Their reply was, well, one thing that we see is that you all see problems where others see opportunity. They said in our language, being that the Chinese language is made of symbols, in our language, we don't even have a symbol for problem. The same symbol for problem is the symbol for opportunity. So this could be problematic for some, but it's an opportunity for all. We just have to look at it from the right perspective.
Unless somebody want to go behind that, which again, I think Alan and Brother Thomas really set up question 3. So we can try it.
I think he's right. It's an opportunity because essential stores, aside from the liquor store that are open during this quarantine, and restaurants, you have Home Depot and Lowe's. Those stores are packed just as much as the grocery store because like people are doing things around the home and around the house.
Right.
They don't have time to do because they're at work. So you got wives, just people in the store, all these little honey-do lists and these projects, and they're doing them and they're knocking them out. I know for me, it's like, hell, man, I didn't put up a chandelier, planted palms, like painted, like you did everything. You know what I'm saying? So you doing all those things, and like you said, it's an opportunity for business. I don't know how many of y'all got businesses on this panel, but you know, they offer the stimulus package that you fill out for $10,000. It says loan, but it's actually a grant. You don't have to pay it back. They have that. You just fill it out with your phone. And researching business opportunities, hell yeah, you ain't got nothing else to do. Like now, I have more time to, I promise you now, because I got to go early in the night. I have, and this is no joke, no exaggeration, over 6 roles to audition for 2 days.
Can I ask you a question real quick? You said six out. Have you ever played any Tyler Perry movies?
Yeah, that's I did. Whenever you see Medea and Joe in the same scene, and you don't see Joe's face, that's me.
You the stunt. Okay.
So I did that.
You ever do Birth of a Nation with Nat Turner?
Birth of a Nation with Nat. I play Nat Turner. I'm opposite of Nat.
Yeah, I was mad at you. I was mad at you now.
Yeah. Tupac film. Hell, the Super Bowl commercial that just came back here recently. But yeah, man, I got most of this that I'm doing today is for NCIS, Los Angeles. So man, I'm telling you, it's like it's no exaggeration, at least 6 characters. I didn't even count them all, but it's like different characters from sergeant to thug to terrorist to like there's all these roles.
So can I ask you a setup question then for number 3? Yeah. We'll just use your life right now for question 3. Has actors ever played roles that they had to get counseling to get out of? Is that like a scientific fact that you got to go to counseling to get out some of your roles?
Well, you don't have to do nothing, but the guy Heath Ledger, he killed himself because he couldn't get out of his role. Like when he played the Joker, he couldn't. He dug so deep into his role, he couldn't fix his mind back. Like some of these roles, and I'm gonna tell you, I had an audition for a role, and the audition it was crazy. They said, we want you to sing the Itsy Bitsy Spider in a sexual manner because you're trying to produce an 11-year-old child.
Wow.
I bombed that audition. I couldn't take my mind there.
Congratulations.
Like, I'm not that good. There are certain things that, like, and you know, no disrespect to anything, but there's certain, like, the homosexuality parts of it. Like, I can play a gay man, but don't touch me on screen. Like, the dialogue, we can do that all day, but I have not reached the point in my career to where I'm comfortable physically portraying a homosexual on screen. I just can't do it yet. And not that I even want to do it. You know what I'm saying? I just, like, and I'm not calling Will gay or nothing like that, but he's outstanding. You know what I'm saying? He can let go and create on screen.
Well, let me finish that question though. Let me finish that question, because again, I want to get your take on it, and then everybody can jump in. So, if question number 3 is, what have you done to consider yourself most effective during the quarantine? And we know that roles can be created, that actors play, that we literally got to get counseling to get out of. What if you created a role that was according to your assignment or your destiny, and you never got counseling to get out of it? You just literally like, nah, I don't need counseling. Not only do I not need counseling to get out of that role, I want to keep rewriting it and updating it. So asking you or anybody else, because again, this question is, what have you done to consider yourself most effective during the quarantine? Can somebody create a role, but that, again, that's their destiny, that they want to create, because they got to create it anyway, during this time when they got the time to create a role? Just like Hollywood is probably writing like a mug right now. Anybody can take that.
What do you mean, like reinventing? I mean, that's reinventing yourself. Like.
But if you ask somebody, why were you born, or what is your destiny? I don't know. But since we know, and since people listening in can, hear the information.
But a lot of people don't know. A lot of people don't know.
I know, that's what I'm saying. I was setting it up.
That's why you got, you better figure out what you want before somebody else gives you what you want. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you'll build somebody else's dream because you don't have one of your own to build. So you'll go to work every day, punching the clock. You will spend the majority of your time giving to somebody else's dream. I don't care what store it is, what business it is. You wake up because you know, I got to go punch in at such and such. I come home preparing to go to sleep, to get up, to give my time away to do that, because you didn't prepare for your own. So you build somebody else's dream, but you didn't build your own.
Hey, Jason, don't
Rob Russell.
What's up, bro? Don't peace to everybody on here as well. On question 3, kind of actually you gotta answer question 2 first before you answer question 3, because, for instance, going back to what Brother Thomas said, he spoke about whoever not. The question on number 2, you actually are asking who's struggling the most. Mm-hmm. You got to look at, first off, what's the struggle for each individual. Facts. My struggle during this time gonna be a little bit different than my 7-year-old daughter's struggle. My 7-year-old daughter's struggle gonna be a little bit different than my 16-year-old daughter's struggle, and so on and so on. So once we answer that question right there, then you can go into number 3 about how you consider yourself the most effective. For me, my effectiveness comes from first trying to not only understand my struggle, but understand each individual struggle that's in my house. Because in my household, me and my wife both still are considered essential workers. So we happen to go to work every day. So when I usually would have a little bit of free time, maybe because I'm off on a weekend or something like that, so I can take my daughter out to do whatever it is that we would do, spending daddy-daughter time or family time or whatever. Right now, it just haven't been able to happen. I've had to work the last 3 weekends. I had to work yesterday. I got to go in tonight so that I can let everybody in my facility have an understanding of what they need to do just in case these tornadoes come and we on a quarantine. So when I get off this call, I'm going to leave and go to work. And then I'm going to come back here and let my family also understand exactly what they need to do as far as if we need to go to the basement or something like that, because the tornadoes may or may not come. So my struggle as a father right now is making sure that I'm protecting my family, but also trying to protect my job. My daughter's struggle is, Daddy, why I can't go ride my hoverboard? And why can I not stay up late because my sisters is staying up late? But now my 16-year-old daughter's struggle is if I'm telling her you need to go to bed at a certain time because you have to help us with your sister get up, log on to the computer when the teacher said that she's supposed to log on so that she can do her assignments. Well, she don't feel like she need to go to bed because they ain't doing nothing tomorrow. So it's a whole bunch of different struggles all within one household, but there's several different struggles. So I think that we have to try to understand exactly what each person's individual struggle is. And with all that being said, I think that we really, the children, the women, the men, I believe that we all kind of struggle equally within everything that we all love. I love my family, so my struggle is all of theirs as being the man of the house. My daughter loves free time as a 7-year-old, so her struggle is, why come I can't stay up with my older siblings? My 16-year-old struggle is, well, how come I can't just do what some of my other teenage friends is doing because we're not really going to school tomorrow, so I can do this homework anytime. And she not understanding that, yeah, but your sister watching you, and so I need you to be able to get up at 9 o'clock and make sure that she bathed and dressed and fed and logged on at 10 like she's supposed to, and you're not going to do that if you're staying up till 2. So when you kind of talk about that stuff, and then you go back to number 3, your question being, you know, how can I be the most effective? Mm-hmm. Honestly, I really don't know. Would I be more effective to take a leap of faith and quit my job right now and stay home to lead my household? Am I most effective by continually just drilling my children, which they don't even want to hear that when we're not having a quarantine? So now I got to keep on drilling them and drilling them and drilling them to try to get them to have a new outlook on something that the world really never seen, being this quarantine is effective. So I think that's one of those questions that each one of us on this panel probably gonna have a different answer for.
Can I start it off? And I got a question for you, and it's funny too. It gets funny at the end. But again, the stuff that y'all say just be sparking questions that I want to throw back at y'all that hopefully we take this conversation to a whole nother level. What if we can bring dinner time back? That's what. What if we could bring dinner time back, like literally, but not soul food? Because I didn't like soul food, man. Let me tell you why I didn't like that soul. Let me tell you why I didn't like soul food. It could be funny, it might not. I just think it's funny even remembering it. So I looked at the overall premise of soul food, and I said, hold on, that's a movie about the children making the food that killed the grandma. Let's be real. How healthy was that food? How healthy was that food? So,
it wasn't.
So what if we don't eat soul food? What if it could be like healthy food and the dopest conversations in the world?
Or what if the norm was that dinner time never left for the average black family, such as mine? We do have dinner time, and we're not eating that pork and stuff like that. So the norm for me is that we do have dinner time. So what if that was the norm for all the black families now?
Can I ask you something, Rob?
Movie be different.
Can I ask you something, Rob? Because again, you are married to a black woman, you got a beautiful black family. You a black man holding down your black home, and I'm over here like, man, I already know. So this is what I'm hitting you with. Man, I'm a teenage father, man. I'm a father in my 20s. Can you help me do that? Because again, we're recording this. We're going to send this off. We're going to, this is session 3. He's watching right now. And I want that, but I don't know how to do that. And my girl be talking crazy. And I'm full of ego, though. I don't know my dad. Or I know my dad, but he didn't teach me. That's what I'm saying. I'm throwing all that out there. Can you talk to him right now, bro, of how to even do something like that?
Absolutely. The reason that I'm able to do it is because I'm exactly those things what you just talked about. I don't have no problem with talking about I'm a 6-time felon. I've been to the penitentiary 4 times. I've been locked up in jails more times in more states than I even care to really put a number on right now. But I ain't been locked up in over 10 years now. And the reason that I know about these things is because I know what it's like to come from a single parent household, because I come from a single parent household. I didn't know my dad growing up, but my mama always made sure that we ate dinner. Sometimes the eating dinner was me and my sisters, because I'm the oldest and the only boy. So I had to cook for them. But I know my mama gonna be in a bad mood because she working sometimes 2 jobs and she ain't great come home and cook. But I got something I want to ask her. So my way of breaking that ice was, at least I know when mama get home, she gonna be hungry. Y'all gotta make sure y'all do y'all part. We gotta have the house clean. I'm gonna make something to eat, and she can come in and take her shower, take her bath, whatever. And then when she eat, then we can see about if she gonna let us do this or do that, or if I can do this or do that. And then getting in trouble because I sneak out the house because she work nights a lot of times. So you talking about going to the penitentiary, it's nothing worse than having dinner time every single day around all these inmates, every single day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So I did want to do that, but I want to do it with my real family. Eating at a certain time, anybody can make that happen. It's not always under the best conditions that it happens, such as when you're in the penitentiary. But when you get out of the penitentiary, you take some of those things that are good, because it is good to have a schedule. It is good to have a structure. So I took those type of things and the stuff that I learned about myself, about the Lord, about just living, about white America and black America and the differences in between it. And so you take those things and you shake it out and you filter out those things that don't apply to you or your people or your household, and you hold on to those nuggets that do. And then when you absorb that and you eat that at dinner, now when I sit down, it's special for me to be in the kitchen with my children. So when they helping me cook, of course we're gonna all sit down and eat together. They in here with me. You know, they learning how to cook. My son learned how to cook. My daughters learn how to cook. Not because you gotta learn as a man to learn how to cook so you can feed your wife, or as my daughter, you gotta learn how you can take care of this man. You gotta learn how to feed yourself. You gotta learn how to feed those that's important to you. Y'all all need to learn how to be able to do something. So as the young black man that's out here and haven't had none of those things that I also didn't have, it just come from wanting to have it. You can look at things from any vantage point that you want to. I choose to look at things from what I didn't have and what I want. What's important to me? What is it that God might really want from me? And then I try to get out here and make those things happen. I would never take back not one day that my freedom was took from me. Not that I enjoyed it or nothing, but it gave me a type of strength that a lot of these people ain't had out here, because some of my best friends come from 2-parent households, and they actually are the weakest men that I've ever met in life. Let the cable get cut off. They calling everybody they know, needing to borrow some money, bro. Like the cable about to get cut off, my phone bill about to get cut off. You know, that in my vantage point, I'm laughing at you, and no, you can't borrow that. You know what I'm saying? Because that's nothing. But you got some people that's out here really struggling, like they're talking about how can they take care of their 3 kids, because right now they really did lose their jobs, and everybody not blessed enough to get in some type of stimulus where they getting a check when they're not being able to work and stuff. Some people literally walked into work one day and y'all can't come back till whenever we say, and we can't pay you. Them is the type of people that, you know, that get my blessings. Them is the type of people that, you know, come over here and eat. And let me show you what it's like to have family dinner, bro. Let me get a chance to, you know, help you out.
Hey, Jason, real quick.
After that, because I got some questions. And then we got Jessica with a question too.
Quick reminder, everybody. I'm gonna be honest with you. I've been kind of gracious with how we've been rolling over this 2 minute, but understand when we go over, we actually creating a whole nother dynamic, because if somebody have a thought, they lose their thought because we so passionate about what we saying, and that's beautiful. But let's be conscious of the time we have. If you hear that sound, that air horn in the background, stop. Or find a stopping point, because we're getting too far into the hour, which means we're losing time to get to the next question. And we want to make sure we're respecting the time.
CJ. All right. Jessica, did you want to chime in? And then Rob, you sparked 2 questions that I want to share with everybody. But again, you sparked the 2 questions I'm going to ask is going to fit for number 2 and 3. Jessica? Let me unmute her mic.
Hi. First of all, I just want to say thanks for allowing me to be on this for the third time. I want to kind of piggyback off of what he just said. I came from a 2-parent household, and my parents didn't have a lot. So dinner time and family time was one of the things that we just had instilled in us. We didn't have birthday parties growing up for me in the 80s. My parents always went out and bought, and we made cakes together. So that was the background that I had growing up. But I, as a single mom, going through that same type of financial hardship, I did some of those similar things. I didn't have money to always take my kids out to do expensive outings. So I looked up and found all types of free events to do here in the city that I instilled family quality time. I instilled family traditions to the point that it was tradition for me and my kids to go to see the Circle of Lights the day after Thanksgiving. It was tradition for us to go to the Children's Museum Christmas Eve, to go do that because it was free. Doing those certain time of family events and doing dinner time. I've been having this talk for the past couple of days with people about dieting and certain things. I came from unhealthy eating. My father was the cook. He wanted the kitchen. My mother said, I'm gonna let him have it. And so we ate a lot of carbs and a lot of starch. But I changed the diet for me in my household, where I started teaching my kids that we're not going to do, cookies and snacks and things like that. So like I said, it was a norm for us to do family dinner. And even with my 2 college girls home right now, my son just left before we started because we did an Easter dinner. He's grown, but I still wanted that family time with us. And we just all had dinner and watched movies together. So it is a norm for some, but I work in a preschool, and it's not normal for a lot of those kids to eat, even being at home now. When we just close on regular breaks, those little bitty babies still don't get to see their parents. They don't get to do dinner with them. They grabbing them McDonald's and everything else and throwing a TV or a phone or a tablet in their face and saying, you go do what you do and I'm gonna go do what I do.
Love it. Thank you for that point. Real talk.
Hey, Jason.
Who's that? Dami?
Hello, everybody.
Hey.
I just want to chime in and kind of just off the backs of what have just been said recently. How much of that is related to, because we talk about things like should we return back to family dinners? We know a lot of Black families still do family dinners. But what I want to bring up is what are we talking about? Because right now in this country, Black people are dying at a disproportionately high rate than everybody else as it relates to COVID-19. So what are we talking about as Black people? Because there's a gap. There is a huge gap that no matter what is happening in this country, Black people are falling in the gap. And there's a whole bunch of us on this call that are educated, that have answers for, what seem to be valid questions. But how is it that we go from this was kind of a joke in the Black community to now in the Black community, once again, this is beyond a crisis for us. Black people are dying at a higher rate than anyone else. What conversations do we need to be having that help to, to address these disparities that are just becoming generational habits for the Black community? Generationally, we have just made a habit of being at the highest rate of the wrong things and the lowest rate of the right thing. So,
I got a question for you, Dominique, because again, you sparked a really good question. 2 of them. So what are we talking about? Love that. I would say, what is the number one conversation? That's 1. So to counter that, what is the number one conversation that whoever's listening in can be like, yeah, what are we talking about? You know what they're talking about? No, I don't know what they're talking about. Cool. Dominique said the number one, or anybody else that want to chime in, the number one conversation is, that's 1. And then question number 2, and again, I just want to take it another level, but again, it'll help with confidence. Why is Black Death promoted so much? So two questions for you, Dominique. What is the number one combo, and why is Black Death promoted so much?
I don't know that I could say that there is a number one conversation. If I have to answer that, for me, the number one conversation is the lack of depth in our conversation.
Which is a dope conversation.
And I brought this up before. I think we have so gotten in a habit. We talk about cliche topics. We give cliche answers. We talk about the same stuff that you can Google. Every other motivational speaker, and we saying the same stuff that's being said everywhere else, and apparently that ain't working in the Black community. Apparently that's not what we need, because we are not responding to conversations that are not taking us to, I think, what culturally the depth that we have. Culturally, we are used to having to have conversations that go deeper than what is cliche on the street.
You mean challenging, so it challenges you. You feel challenged.
I think it's bigger than conversation that challenge you. I think it's conversation that stirs your soul. Conversations that address what we know to be fact for us as a people. We don't get to deal with nothing going on in this world the same way that everybody else deals with it, no matter what economic or educational status you're on. As an educated woman that can take care of myself, I still have to think about the fact I have whole families that COVID is going to destroy what little stability they had. As a social worker, I have to think about the fact that I have clients that live in communities that if we happen to have super bad weather in Houston this week, it could be completely devastating for them. But I guess my point in this is, what kind of conversations are we having before we get here? Because why do we still have so many of our people that are not, whether physically, financially, or mentally, why are we not prepared?
Okay.
I think I agree with, I really do.
Alan, you come in after Regina. Here you go, Regina.
Oh, sorry about that. Did I cut you off?
No, you good.
Okay. I kind of agree with Dominique. I think, I know we're talking about the dinner table, and do a lot of us, sorry, I have my 1-year-old screaming in the background.
Oh, okay.
But no, I just wanted to say that a lot of times, I'm gonna be honest, but I don't think a lot of Black people are having that dinner table set up like we used to. And not that it's good or bad. I think that a lot of people are just rushed in between doing different things. I mean, I can just talk about me and my family with 4 boys. My husband and I mean, we're all over the place. So when it comes to dinner time, it's kind of like a grab and go. So with that said, that I think goes into the disparities that Dominique is talking about, because as I am ripping and running, one of my first choices, and it may be bad, and I don't like McDonald's, but it's quick and it's right there and it's $100.
Oh.
So I say that to say this, that I'm not the only one, and I'm be honest, that decision-making process to hurry up and receive something really fast so I can hurry up and eat and go to the next thing I gotta do because of what have you, those decisions roll into other decisions of one, what am I eating when I go there? And then when I'm there, what am I putting in my body? And then as I am, what are my other decisions? The music I'm listening to, the movies that I'm watching. I mean, it's a lot of different things into why one we're set up a little bit more differently than other races. And I hate the fact that we're always pictured at the bottom of everything. I think that that's another systematic issue that we have, to where we're always focusing on why are Black people always at the bottom of the barrel? Well, first of all, we're the minority of the group. Why are we always looking at our 5 people that passed away instead of the 20 other people that passed away in the other races? Like, to me, that's another problem that I see too, which to me, if you go into a lot of the legal system, you'll see why they do that and why they highlight a lot of our deaths and so on and so forth. But I think that it does start with at the dinner table. And when I was younger, my mom, she sat us down. It's not that we had the richest stuff at the table. We had a protein, maybe a vegetable, and a starch, and that was it. I don't even know what the rest of it was. But at the table, I learned so much. One, I learned how to hold conversations. 2, I learned manners, okay? And so it kind of, I think it helped me out when I went into public sector and I was talking to other people. It helped me out in the military for sure, and how to handle myself in those type of situations in that type of setting. So I think going to the dinner table is important to me. I used to have this in high school. I went to Arlington High School. We had this Asian science teacher, and she always said, you guys need to sit down and have lunch. Y'all need to just sit down and have lunch and dinner for an hour. And I was like, who does that? I don't have time. What do you, like, even in high school, we would sit down at the table and get whatever instruction we needed, and that was the end of it. I think that we need to use the dinner table as like a conversational piece. There's a storm coming, y'all, so maybe we should practice. Tornado may be here. Let's go ahead and run through a drill. Okay, we'll do that as soon as we finish done eating. Because right now, there's so many different distractions and TV and iPads and cell phones and all kinds of social media stuff, to where I think the dinner table actually would kind of fix some of those disparities that we have.
You already know.
We got, I'll say,
that's facts.
The main conversation, there is one main conversation, and it's tied to the same reason why Black folks are at the bottom. And it's tied to the same thing that somebody said, systematically. Systems and systematically, you know, that being racism is within the government that we all live in, that we all take part in, that we all do not engage in. And that's why we're at the bottom. And I'm ticked off about the political process, because here it is, you have one candidate that is for some things that would change a lot of the stuff that people that look like me and you could go for. And then we have another candidate who's promising to do what this candidate that really is going to be like you, that, you know, help you out. And Black people do not participate in that process to change the system that is holding them down. What they do is they take the easy route and they vote for the handouts and the easy. And I'm not talking about Republican or Democrat, because Republicans and Democrats, if you haven't paid attention, they switched ideas to where one supports you this century and the next century they don't. So let's get past that. You'll have a group of people who want your support to get the control over the same system that is holding us down, and nobody changes it. Nobody tries to engage and get into it and make that different. That's why we're held down.
Okay.
Hey, go ahead. Somebody, go ahead.
Dominique?
Yeah, thanks for that, Alan. But so let me ask, how is the system affecting the number of people, Black people, that are dying?
Okay, I'll tell you this.
As a result of this pandemic.
Uh-oh.
I mean, I get what you're saying, but I think again, for me, that goes back to, I feel like that's kind of a cliche response, because we've got saying that about our people. But if you look at the numbers today, there are far more Black people and far more minorities participating in the political, structure than there has ever been in the past, even when we go as far back as, civil rights. And it took a true coming together of Black people for the civil rights movement to take shape. But when we're talking about something that seemingly doesn't have borders, doesn't have, labels, we're talking about a virus
Right.
that when this all first hit, most Black people were making jokes about how Black people can't get corona.
Right. Right.
But here we are, and now this pandemic, not just from a health perspective, but a financial perspective, educationally, our community is being ravaged by this pandemic. And we are not even halfway through it yet. But again, I go back to the conversations because our people ain't never been able to rely on the government. So why is that even a part of our first thought process right now? Well, how we survive ain't never been as a result of a government entity that worked to our benefit. So, I mean, I'm sorry, but I got to push back on that response because the healing of our community, the advancement of our community ain't never came at the hands of no government entity or who's in office. It has always come from us doing what we must do to survive. So where is, again, with all of the educated Black people in this country right now, with the savvy that we have, with the access that we have, how are we still, when it comes to things like this pandemic and what it takes to survive, how is it our communities are still woefully at the bottom?
Come on, Alan Felix.
Well,
Come on, Alan Felix.
Okay. Because we live in a country that is governed and we're under that, we still have to follow those rules. And within those rules, we have healthcare. And healthcare can only be administered and bought into according to the rules and regulations. Okay? So the healthcare is unfortunately tied to your employment. Unless you don't have a job, then you have to get it through the government, Medicaid, Medicare. Okay? And through your employment, you're systematically, again, in this system that we have, is the racism, like African Americans, and I hate using that term because I'm American. I'm not African American. I'm American. But just for this conversation, we make less money. We have the menial jobs. We don't have the jobs. It's not proportionately across the board where it's all like that. So then you have the grocery stores in the Black communities are not the grocery stores that are in the upper middle class to higher class neighborhoods. When you go to these grocery stores, on those shelves, it is food that is really not meant for human consumption, but that is what you are used to eating because that is what you can afford. And that is still within the system. That is all passed down, all of this. So an accumulation of all of these things that, again, are systematically set up to hurt you when it comes to diabetes, asthma, all of the things that this COVID is attacking, you hit. So Black people, because of our diets, because of our health, because of our lack of access to healthcare, because of the government, the way it is set up, because of this systematic system, that's why we're being affected more. Now, keep in mind, there are more white people on welfare and food stamps than Black people, but they do not have they're not denied access to jobs like we are. They're not denied. They don't have that glass ceiling. And there are people that break through the glass ceiling, but that's the exception. That's not the rule. That's just what it is.
Right, Jay, can I add in?
I don't disagree with anything that you said. But
Brother Thomas.
I think the thing that I am really pushing here is that there are conversations as Black people at all the different levels, all the spheres of influences that we touch that we clearly are not having. Because we can have a conversation right here and say that there's all these dynamics, but we know those dynamics. There's someone that I listen to on a regular basis that always says, life is not a game. Life is not a game. However, there is strategy to life. And everything that you just talked about is what I'm saying is what I feel like is missing in the conversations that we're having, even amongst ourselves when we're dating, when we're girlfriends getting together. We are really not seeing that there is a gap, that when something like a pandemic happens, there's so many of us that fall right into that gap because we are not imparting the strategies that we need to not always be on this side of the conversation. Because there's, those of us that are sitting here, obviously we have privilege. We got homes that we sitting in with internet, with computers that we can get on Zoom. We obviously are sitting here. We're sitting in our privilege as Black people in this country. But you know that we all have access to people that don't have the same privilege that we have. What conversations are we having in our regular dealings with one another that help to push back the lack of strategizing that is obviously existing in our communities?
Facts. So let me hit you with this. Because I want to bring Brother Thomas in. But I just want to get a yes or no, Dominique. Tell me what you think. Do you want to hear something new tonight? Is that what you're hearing? Is that what you're saying? I'm tired of hearing the same old. I want to hear some new information. Well, new solutions. I'm sorry, new solutions.
Remember, yes or no, because we gotta keep moving.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Okay. I'm sorry. We just
Nah, you doing it. That's your job, bro. You be doing it the best.
Yes.
Okay, Brother Thomas, do you have anything you want to add to that?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Man, I agree with Sister Dominique as far as the way in which the rate in which we're passing from this pandemic and the suffering that we're really facing, being at the bottom of the totem pole. However, I would also say that every single generation has had someone or somebody's, plural, that has given a strategy and an exegesis of a perfect plan to get us out of our situation. And I also agree that no, we are not in a position to just blame the government. The Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad back in the 60s said that we as a people should do for self or suffer the consequences. When we are looking at how we're suffering right now, this is part of the consequences of not doing for self. And sometimes we have a misunderstanding of philosophies because doing for self does not mean doing by self. He also said that our unity is more powerful than the nuclear bomb. Do you know that there are athletes right now that make $20 million per year? Now, we're just talking about an athlete, and it's not to knock what those individuals are being compensated for putting in so much hard work. But however, in America, there are roughly 40 to 50 million Black people. Do you know that there are 2 NBA salaries that can give each household $1 million? Do you know that 5 entertainers can get together and eliminate the entire debt for the average Black household? So it's not that we don't know, it's that we're not doing. So the scripture call us hard-hearted. Did you hear me? Hard-hearted, stiff-necked. So yes, we can say that no one is speaking about what we can do. We've had the Honorable Marcus Garvey. We've had Noble Drew Ali. We've had W.E.B. Du Bois. We've had Booker T. Washington. We had Joanne Chassamar. We had Shirley Chisholm. We've had so many Black men and Black women talking to the Black community, giving a perfect strategy to get us out of our position. But yet, when you're dealing with stiff-necked, hard-hearted, easily led in the wrong direction, hard to be led in the right direction people, then we're going to have to suffer the consequences until we decide to get our act together and begin to change our condition by unifying with one another. Because it's only going to be our unity that take us out of our position. As the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, no one man can rise above the conditions of an entire people. So yes, we may have a little bit of privilege because we have access to internet, we got a little shelter, but at the end of the day, we're suffering so much from COVID-19 because primarily our eating habits, as we were talking about the dinner table, the primary people that are dying or victims from this disease are people who are suffering from diabetes. Can I get a little extension? 10 seconds. People who are suffering from hypertension, diabetes, cardiovascular problems already. And we are number one in these areas already prior to COVID-19 being something that has been classified as a pandemic. So that goes back to the kitchen table as we were speaking about. Eating to live and thinking to live. So I'm sorry.
I got one more question for you though. I got one more question. And Rob, you want to come in? You look like you better say something. And Bradford, feel free to come in anytime too, bro. But I got one more question for you, Brother Thomas. Are you really saying that everything is already being said and there's nothing new under the sun? And why is it hard to find in the age of information?
Brother Jason, I am stating that everything that we want to hear, it has been said before.
Wow.
Someone may say it differently, but it's been said before.
Okay.
Definitely true.
And it's necessary to be said differently at times because unfortunately, there are some young brothers and sisters who I educate that before meeting a Brother Thomas, they didn't know anything about the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. They didn't know nothing about the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. They didn't know nothing about Malcolm X. They didn't know nothing about Muhammad Ali. And their first introduction to them is not just by what I say, but they're going to look at what I do.
Come on.
And so, yeah, at the end of the day, everything has been said to our community. It's about us following suit and begin to apply what it is that we already know.
Wow. Appreciate that. Rob?
And I agree with I'm sorry, Rob. I agree with what Brother Thomas said. But again, with everything that has been said, how do we frame the conversations, the contributions in the spheres of influences that we have on a regular basis to see things?
Let me frame a little bit of that for you.
Do we think that there's just whole masses of Black people that just they're gonna be casualties of war?
I think a little bit of it.
That's a good question.
Got something to do with a little bit of everything, because the conversation that Dominique, that you actually started with this is great. And then Brother Allen, what you spoke on in return to what she said, that was great too. Brother Thomas, what you just so eloquently spoke is the realest, and that's what's going on. So just to piggyback off of all three of y'all, you know, the whole thing with the COVID-19, the communities sitting at the dinner table, they're eating, as he just said about the eating habits. Let's look into what's going on right here in Atlanta. Now, Jason, you know, I'm born and raised in Indianapolis, but I've been living in Atlanta for quite a while now. And I'm sitting here watching these 5G towers go up. So to sit here and talk about the COVID, if we're going to talk about the COVID, then we got to talk about the radiation of the 5G towers. Because what we're seeing right here in Atlanta is that a lot of these towers is going right up, same place where the liquor stores is, same place where the Family Dollars is, the Piggly Wigglies, and all the stuff that the Black people frequent right in the middle of the neighborhood, putting this radiation into the air, all into the society right here. So is it not ironic that the underlying factors that people have that are dying from these things, ain't it gonna get worse? Like, if somebody is getting chemotherapy from that cancer, if you got just the right amount, if you blessed, then it just gonna kill the cancer. A little bit too much, you gonna die with it, or parts of you gonna die. Your hair gonna fall out. Not enough, ain't nothing gonna happen, and you just gonna come out bruised and be hurting a little bit. So with what's going on with this 5G, it's 100 times worse than just than chemotherapy. So if you putting it in a neighborhood to where people going to 7-Eleven and Double 8 and Piggly Wiggly and getting, all this different pork, and they normal eating habit is this so-called soul food that you're talking about that's already killing you, and then you add radiation to that, of course Black people is dying at a higher level because that's what it's made out to be. The misconception is sitting here talking about the minorities is dying. What minority are you speaking of? Because us Blacks, we not the minority. It's more people of color in the world than it is of non-colored people. We actually the majority. So when you letting people take these numbers and dictate these numbers the way that they want to dictate them, then of course they're going to get on the news and make you think that it's more of us that's dying by numbers or percents. But in all actuality, they taking anything that somebody died from that just look like it's a flu-like symptom. Just like when you go to get some chemotherapy, when you come out of it, you're feeling sick, you're dehydrated, you're throwing up, you're having the same symptoms of what they saying COVID-19 is right now. But if you die, they ain't gonna say you died from cancer. They gonna say you died from symptoms of COVID-19. And you a fool if you believe it. It's more to it than that. I don't want to go with my 2 minutes, so I'm going to leave it like that. But I'm piggybacking off of what Brother Thomas said, which came from what Brother Allen said, which was started by Sister Dominique.
Hey, Jason, real quick, that was a beautiful point, Brother Rob. Brother Jason, I just got a message, man. We're trying to see how far we are from going into that next question, because we kind of getting up a little bit.
Okay. I was going to go into 4 and 5 because it kind of go into each other. Y'all let me know what y'all think about this. Number 4, how important is tonality and body language during communication with the opposite sex? 1, and then 2, what is your definition of accountability? And I want to start setting up some questions because, again, I want to get everybody involved. And I know Cece's on that, and I think Bradford might be on that as well. So I want to start bringing in some more spiritual questions and scientific questions with this. So again, we want everybody to be able to listen to this and be like, ooh, I like where the conversation went to this point or it went to this point. So I'm just throwing out a controversial question that is backed by science, because I ain't making none of this up. Again, those questions right here, and then I got one more question I want to add to that. Just again, to bring CC in, to bring Bradford in, or anybody else that wants to get spiritual or energy or whatever you want us to call it. They're putting up 5G towers, right? But haven't y'all noticed that every time something new, bad that comes up on this earth, it makes us better, but it sounds scary and crazy in the beginning. And it kills a lot of people, and it makes a lot of people weak. And we get to the point where we be like, I'm tired of that. And then somebody just grows out of that. Solutions grow out of that. What if these so-called people that are bringing these so-called bad things keep making us doper? So they're putting up 5G towers. What if we can become 5D towers? Now again, not trying to be like, ooh, let me say something deep. We are on the 3rd dimension. We know the 1st dimension. We know the 2nd dimension exists. So we know the 3rd dimension exists. This is all of us. But we know 4th dimension exists. And 5th dimension, we know dimensions exist. I didn't say nothing about spooky spirituality. I said dimensions, right? So if we studied the 5D, will we even trip about 5G? Or am I just reaching by saying we can be doper by adding spirituality, or again, just being more solution-based to the problem?
Don't nothing go up in, I mean, again, this is the country that we live in, that Brother Thomas was talking about it, which it's cool, and a lot of those concepts would have worked for our community if we would have stayed separate. And I'm not sitting here advertising or advocating that we go back to being separate, blacks and whites and all that, but a lot of what could have been prevented for just our community being separate and sticking together and to each his own and all that, that would have helped prevent a lot of what the black community is going through. But civil rights came, We got what we've been asking for. We want the same access and rights to what you had, even though it's still less. But now you can't be separate but equal. You will get your ass sued if you start a company and talking about it's only for black people. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So you can't. But
Alan, let me ask you this then. Say hypothetical. We stuck together, right? Say we stuck together. Let's create this Wakanda. We stuck together. Now we stuck together. How important is tonality and body language? Because now we all together. And
right.
Then what is the definition of accountability in this Wakanda?
So if body language, let's go with that. Like, if anybody's in a relationship, you already know what the importance of body language is. You go to your other partner wanting to talk about something they don't want to talk about, and you're going to know immediately if you should continue that conversation or not, because their body language is going to tell you before they even tell you. They can even lie to you and act like they're trying to tell you, but their body language going to let you know, yeah, I really ain't feeling this conversation. Or, yeah, you can continue, tell me more. Accountability is, you can go from as simple as parent and child. When you tell a child to do something and they don't do it, and they know they were supposed to do it, when they don't do what they were tasked to do, and there's no conversation, consequence, or any kind of communication after that, you have just failed to hold that child accountable. And that's the same thing with dealing with people. When there's an expectation that is not met, or there's some things that you're expecting from somebody and it doesn't happen, and there's no communication, consequence, or something behind that, then there's no accountability. And you have to hold people accountable in every relationship, in interaction.
Now, okay, let me ask you this. This is one of the best ways, because again, I've been playing around with accountability after our Tuesday talk. Because I was like, man, I really want to get this answer from people. So let me think of the best way to ask them to where they forced to answer it the best way. So then tell me what y'all think about this. How do you teach accountability? Because if you can explain how do you teach accountability, that means you can do it. And sometimes when we become teachers, we become students of what we about to teach. So we still help ourselves by even studying the stuff that we gotta speak about. So how do you teach accountability? And body language and tonality. Let's say, how do we control that during times that ruin relationships and marriages? Because again, we can talk about all the good, safe topics. Let's talk about controlling tonality and controlling body language when you feel comfortable going off on him or her.
Yeah.
That's an even deeper question. And then, how do you teach accountability?
I don't know how many people on here have been in the military, but there's a military term for it. Of course, accountability is all through your training, your grooming. But when the drill sergeant or says something to you or is tasking you to do something that you do not like, it's a term for your body language, and that is your military bearing. And they will tell you that you better maintain your military bearing. If your face look like you don't like it, if your face look like you don't want to appreciate it, private, you better find your military bearing. And that's what it is. Like and I can only speak from the military part and the parent part, holding accountable, because there's always consequences to every action, and then always bad consequences. There's good consequences and bad consequences, and the good consequences reinforce being accountable. The bad consequences reinforce not being accountable. Mm-hmm. So that's my best answer.
Can I ask you one more thing to that? And again, anybody can chime in. Are you saying, so like when people practice their smile in the mirror or whatever, are you saying practice your body language, face, energy, everything that won't get you in trouble or won't be counterproductive of the outcomes that you want?
That's what you got to do. And when I teach people how to act, because that's what it is. It's acting. Everybody can act. It's just.
But Alan, I don't feel like it, man. I don't feel like it, and I don't have to do it because I got away with it in the past. But I'm searching for my soulmate, and I want to be, but I don't want to change. They got to make me happy.
That'll happen to And that'll be a young boy or a young girl that is raised in a household that they are not held accountable. And you damn right, they don't want to do it. And they used to get away with it at home. But when you leave out your parents' house and you at the job and somebody come to you with something you don't want to do and you would have got away from it at home,
hold on,
you're fired. Take your ass home.
Hold on, Alan. Hold on. Are you saying that's a form of child abuse by giving your child everything they want and not teaching them how to hold themselves accountable?
I believe that. I'm an advocate of that. I really believe you are doing your child a disservice if you don't get on them when they off task.
Hold on. So by teaching it to your children, the parent actually learn how to take accountability better too? Is that what you're saying?
You do.
So a parent can teach their way into a mastery of accountability.
Because you can be a lazy parent, and it is lazy parenting by not teaching you. If your child is jacking up, being disobedient, just doing what the hell they want to do, and you don't get on them, then you're not doing what you're supposed to do. That's lazy parenting. That's taking easy way.
Okay, let me tell you like this. And he know who he is. He don't need to share it, but again, it's a powerful brother, right? And he was on the phone with me, and his children was kind of, doing their thing. I promise you, I was like, I want to see how he deals with his children. Because again, children come from us, right? So if we got a good way of dealing with ourselves, we're going to deal with what came from us a lot better, right? So his tonality was super, super calm and easy to deal with. So guess what his children were doing? Because they mock everything we do. You don't listen to nothing I say. They mock everything we do. Man, you can't tell my children nothing. They mock everything we do. So his energy was like, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And I'm like, they're calming down because again, they're children. And his body language, according to the energy I was hearing from his words, his body language seemed more caring than Joe Jackson-ish, if that makes sense. Even though we know Joe Jackson worked, but there's scars behind that way of doing it. So are you saying, I just want to make sure I'm hearing this right. Are you saying, first of all, everybody's at the home. Parents can practice becoming masters of accountability by teaching this to their children, and they can practice tonality and body language when their children are driving them crazy, and instead of posting on social media how bad of parenting they do by saying how bad their children is, but don't let that you better never let that teacher post how bad their kid is on social media. But instead of posting how bad their children are on social media, they can practice growing in accountability, tonality, and body language with their younger selves or higher selves, whatever you want to call your children. Is this what I'm hearing? Because that would be the dopest practice in the world versus you better listen to what I said because I'm his parent. Cece.
I just really wanted to say that I think there's even a more, even deeper way to teach accountability to people and children, and that every single thing that we do, every single seed that we plant, every single word, every single action, everything that you do will come back on you. And with my own children, it's not a matter of chastising them for when they misbehave or taking away, their privileges or whatever, to teach them how to be accountable. I think more importantly, really teach them how to reap what you sow and to take accountability for your actions in every single way. Even the question that we were off on, and it was a really good conversation about, and I wish we could have a whole day of just talking about that. The whole point of that is being accountable and taking responsibility for how you care for your body. And I know I won't get back on that, but that's a matter of being accountable. My own children, we come up with our own system of how we do things. And then when they do something or when they get a result that they don't like, they have to understand that they are the ones that created that. Nobody did anything to them. Everything that shows up for them is a matter of something that they've done. And as far as body language, yes, tonality and yes, body language is very important, but even deeper than that is, I think, when we can all become more sensitive to one another's energy, you can gain a lot more from noticing that than looking at the fake smile or the fake body language that somebody's projecting. And I think that it takes practice to be sensitive to one another's energy.
Can I ask you a question? Because you just sparked another thing. You sparked another thing. And again, Bradford, let me know, bro. Okay. But I don't feel good. I don't feel good around them. They don't make me feel good. But working out and running doesn't feel good at all. And then running faster and then adding to my workout, because again, the body, if you do the same workout, you can literally harm your body because your body literally gets used to it. You have to switch workouts. And again, it's hard. So what you're saying is, again, controlling yourself and accountability means you're doing something that's hard because you're doing something for self first, right?
Okay.
So a person who can't control their body language or tonality, are they basically saying they're undisciplined or are they free? Or is that the craziest thing you ever heard in your life, trying to mix those?
Well, I mean, my answer to that is going to be saying, well, it's really probably a little bit of both, but for me, that's freedom, is to be able to fully express yourself in any moment, facially, body, language or whatever. But, there are so many people who are under controlled body language, but really there's an essence of them underneath that can be sensed and it can be told. The whole story can be told by sensing their energy about it, the intention behind it. That tells the truth about everything, no matter what you project on the outside.
So levels of freedom, right? And again, I'm just saying just how I study freedom, right? I've seen people be like, man, I got $100,000. And they display their freedom through having $100,000. But I've seen people in $100,000 in debt display their freedom differently. I've seen people's health, and I've seen people's even their research time or even what they study or how they vibrate. Their freedoms levels change according to their environments. I'm asking you, are we really again free to act how we need to act? Because again, to me, this goes into body language and tonality, right? Again, I'm making more money. I don't have to look at you like that no more. And again, not saying I believe that, but I believe there's some people out there that do that. Does outside circumstances that want us miscommunicating, are outside circumstances messing with our freedom levels to the point where we can't even see another person, our partners, or whoever we're dealing with, is pain? Because again, I'm so free. Think about it. If I'm so free to be myself, can I even see anybody else? And again, I'm just going somewhere with all these questions.
Mm-hmm. So again, that comes back to accountability, because then it's not something that I would say if two people are already in a relationship and you guys have not worked on this ahead of time or any period of time, but being responsible for everything that shows up for you, which is my definition of accountability, will be the root of how you treat the next person or how you have compassion for what your partner is going through, or being able to sense their energy no matter how they're acting out. That's a huge thing. My kids can be running around acting like maniacs, but I can sense what really is going on with them, even in a mate.
Can you sense what's in yourself?
Sense their energy.
No, that's what I'm saying. Can you sense what's in yourself? Pretty
Absolutely.
Good? So do you think that makes it easy for you to see your children versus
Yes.
I don't know what's wrong with my kids.
Yes.
Okay.
True. True.
Hey, Jason.
And I just think that that's something that needs to be, back to Dominique's original thing about the deeper conversations and what can we do besides what's already, or what can we say and do that hasn't already been done, or at least topics to discuss. That's a huge one to me. I think we need to start talking more about that kind of thing. How can we get to the root of taking responsibility for our own worlds and how we interact with our own families based off of sensing one another? I didn't get to do my introduction, but my whole thing is about living an intuitive lifestyle. And that means, did the buzzer just go off?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, my whole thing is about living an intuitive lifestyle, which can remedy a lot of the dysfunction in our families and relationships.
Oh, Jessica, and then I'm going to go into the last two questions, and then I want to go get a book. So DJ, CJ, if you want to take over, I want to go get a book I want to share with everybody just to show the power of that, how powerful we are. And again, Brother Thomas sparked it by talking about Marcus Garvey. So I just want to bring this, and then y'all tell me what y'all think about it. But Jessica, you go in, and then we're going to do the last two questions.
I was just going to ask from Miss Cece when she was talking about, being intuitive. With the accountability and being responsible, something that I've been working on, how does that go into play with breaking generational curses? Wow. The sins of the father fall upon the children. So when you're trying to be accountable for somebody or hold each other accountable, whether it's a husband and wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, friendship, parent, child, indifferent, how do you address that when there's family, there's generational, a lot of people are dealing with generational curses, and people don't even realize that. They know they're battling something, but they don't know what they're battling. Does that make sense?
Yeah, indeed. And that again goes to Dominique's point about having new discussions. We haven't really been, as a community, a Black community, been exposed to that sort of language before. And it takes a matter of being open, taking accountability to want to change, or to want to learn something new, or to want to do something differently, or to want to eat differently. I mean, now with social media, there's so many people with all of their information put out there. A part of being intuitive or intuitive living is what resonates with you. I mean, sometimes we ignore the signs that are being given to us, and I didn't come from a family where my parents, now that I look back, I really understand the areas where they did spark this within me, but they were, not really on the same tip that I'm on. I took the initiative to want to do something different. Even with my eating habits, it was me, things that resonated with me, even when I was unsure really what it was all about. Then I took the initiative to research it and to see again what is resonating for me. So, I mean, I don't know that I have like a one-shot answer for that, but just the matter of being open to, or even putting that out to the universe or God or whatever you want, your thing is ask that question. How can I change my life in the most healthy way? Or what are the resources that I need to turn to start understanding how to heal my family? And I'm a single parent also, and I have been pretty much the whole entire time I've had my 3 daughters. And I've been on all the different stuff, and I've done everything you said earlier about the children. I've done all that free stuff. I mean, because we weren't going to just sit at home and not do nothing. I mean, we were taking on, and Dominique is the one who would turn me on to all the stuff. But, so I'm just saying, we have to at least start with being open to something that we may not have ever heard of. And I mean, I really can't wait for Jason to have a new conversation about the stuff that we don't normally talk about, like science and spirituality, because those are the brand new conversations, and the world is ready for it. And I think as a species, we are evolving into it, whether we like it or not. And it takes people like us to get the dialogue going and to start teaching and supporting each other on these new topics.
Can I add on to that, Brother Jason?
Please.
Sister CC, beautiful points. Excellent question, Sister Jessica. And I was just thinking about something of that nature before you asked that question.
Come on.
And oftentimes, we also look at generational curses, and it's a misnomer for generational habits. Oftentimes we end up in the same predicament as the prior generation because we take on the same habits of the prior generation. There was a study done before with a set of twins. One of my brothers was telling me about it. It was a set of twins, and their father was an alcoholic. And so they studied these twins, and when these twins became adults, they were examining their lives. And one of the twins happened to be, what you think, an alcoholic. But the other twin was doing real good for himself, had never touched any alcohol. And they went and questioned these twins, and they asked these twins, they said to the one who was an alcoholic, they asked him, what is your cause for? What do you think is the root of the issue that you're facing right now? And of course he said, well, my father was an alcoholic, and I used to see him and the way that he behaved when he came inside the house. And so I think that's the reason that I became alcoholic. The same father that fathered the other twin, when they asked the other twin why had he never touched alcohol, he said, because my father was an alcoholic. I saw the way that my father behaved under the influence of alcohol, and I decided that I never wanted to be like that individual. So one twin said, it is because my father that I am an alcoholic, while the other twin said, it is because my father that I'm not an alcoholic. So what one was blaming as being a generational curse, I'm an alcoholic because of my father, the other one made sure that he didn't take on the generational habit and said that because I seen that in my father, I'm not going to be like him. Likewise with many of us who are parents. I did not grow up with a father. Can I get a little extension?
Please.
Go ahead.
I didn't grow up with a father. But because I didn't grow up with a father, I made a decision to not use that as a reason to justify me not being a father.
Come on.
So oftentimes I caught my mother crying one day. Me and my family was visiting my mother. I'm talking about she's in the bathroom boo-hooing. I run in her room asking what's wrong. She was crying because she said she admires the type of father I am with my children.
Wow.
Now, I could have told her, well, the only reason I'm a father to my children because my father wasn't a father to me. Or I could also been a man that said, well, the only reason I'm not a father because I don't know how to be a father because I didn't have a father. So some things we look at as generational curses are just generational habits that we haven't become conscious enough to make sure that we consciously break.
So, Bradford, I want to ask you this, and then Brother Thomas, I want to ask you the same thing. Are you saying, Brother Thomas, for Bradford to answer, and for Jessica, because that's such a huge question. So don't focus on generational curses, focus on generational habits, but you can't focus on generational habits without doing research, generational mindsets, generational conversations, generational limits, generational religions, generational meal plans, generational solutions that work and don't work. Are you saying all that, Brother Thomas? You got to do research to break generational curses and habits?
Yes, sir.
So again,
yes,
I want to add on that a little bit. Again, I didn't have a father. I don't even know what a father felt like. Let's get really crazy with it. I never even touched my father. We can get really crazy with it. But are you saying everything that you wanted, you just become that? So you can't really know what not to be. You could literally be like, I wanted that, I wanted that, I wanted that. So forget your father telling you that. You literally got all the evidence of what you didn't want, and you just become what you didn't want. What you always wanted. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and sometimes it's not just focusing on what you don't want, it's focusing on what you want.
Facts.
You know what I mean? Because focusing on what we don't want, I mean, just some of the guilty pleasures that I had, I remember focusing on not wanting those guilty pleasures and becoming the person that they became a guilty pleasure of. So sometimes when we focus on what we don't want, we become that very thing that we don't want. But when we focus on, put our energy toward becoming what we desire to become, we become that thing that we desire to become. So it's all, it all starts in the mind, in my humble opinion. There's nothing more powerful than the made up mind. So teach the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And science bears, my sister was talking about science. Science bears witness. That whatever we put our mind to, you may hear it in a lot of conversations nowadays that when you put your mind completely focused, when you focus your mind completely on something, the universe will begin to bear witness to manifesting what your mind is striving to incline to.
Come on.
So at the end of the day, it's a mental choice.
Okay, so again, Bradford, I'm throwing all them questions your way. I'm gonna throw you like 4 questions. We didn't start at 7. For us to get about 2 hours in, we can go over from I think 9:15 or something like that. 9:10.
About 10 minutes, 10 after.
Okay, so Bradford, I'm gonna throw you all these questions, and then everybody else can chime in. I'm gonna go get this book because I want to bring up a point before we end. So I want to hit you with these 2 questions real quick. This is for men and women. What are the most effective ways to respond to men and women, or women and children, or women and children, or men and children during and after the quarantine? So that's 1. And then 2, what are the best ways to help men and children, or women and children, become more successful during the quarantine?
For me,
and the last one, becoming what you didn't have. Because again, Brother Thomas said, don't become what you didn't want, become what you didn't have. And you know what you wanted, so again, become what you didn't have. And I'm gonna throw all that there, and I'm gonna go get this book. There you go, bro.
All right, for me, I would say it was more about as far as what was that first question? Because that was a lot of questions.
Yeah, it was. But I was just saying, somebody might be listening in, man, I want to hear Bradford. So we throwing you all the questions. Yeah. The first one was, what's the most effective ways to respond? Now again, that can go all type of ways. How to respond to women and children, since you're a male, during the quarantine and after the quarantine.
I would say first thing is patience. You gotta have patience. I have 4 children, and they're from the ages of 2 to 12. So. I have a 9-year-old, 2-year-old, 4-year-old, and a 12-year-old. So the 9 and 2 and 4-year-old is running constantly. It's high energy, So for me and my wife, it's really about patience because we're all they're not in school right now. So, and that's where kind of the accountability comes in on our parts as well as parents is just trying to be aware of that, because after being in here so long, they can wear on your patience and actually know you're snapping at them and being short tempered. So for me, it's just being constantly aware of trying to be patient with them, and because they don't understand the magnitude of this quarantine and this virus that's going around. So I try to be aware of that, you know, and me and my wife both, we have these conversations a lot, you know. And then like when my 12-year-old, you know, she can't hang out with her friends, she can't go see her cousins, you know, because my kids and my brother kids are really tight. So they can't do the sleepovers at grandma's and all of that, you know. While the other two, well, my 2-year-old, she don't know what's going on. It's just a regular day to her. But for my 4 and 9-year-old, you know, they're handling it okay. So it's just a constant, I guess, just trying to be aware of that. And I don't remember the other question, what he said about, I guess, after the quarantine, I guess. Just making sure, I guess I'm kind of ramble a little bit, but just overall holding each other accountable. And because me and my wife also have a business together, so I'm kind of quote unquote an essential worker as well. So I still have to go out and work. My wife is a makeup artist, so right now she can't do makeup because we can't be close to one another. So we run our business, you know. She helps a lot with that, and just trying to find a balance with one another, so we're not getting on each other's nerves or anything like that. So I have a high sense of awareness. I can read her energy. I can tell if something's bothering her. And same thing she can with me, because we've been together for a long time. So we've been married 15 years, been together 21 years. So we pretty familiar with one another and know when something is wrong, and we can have that conversation and have that talk. But and having open communication amongst ourselves and as well with our children. I mean, we just had dinner together. We all sat down at the dinner table. We try to do that a lot. She really pushes that, because I grew up in a 2-parent household. She was raised by her grandmother. So that coming from 2 different backgrounds. So she really is big on family and us being together, sitting down, having dinner. So this quarantine is mainly implement that a little bit more. I'm into health and wellness, so within my family, I guess with the generational curse thing real quick, and then I'll be quiet.
Yeah, you got 10 seconds, bro. 10 seconds.
10 seconds. Okay. You know, diabetes, all that ran through my family, you know, but my father and my mother was into fitness. You know, they've always been into fitness, and it kind of trickled down to me and my brother into fitness. And so now I kind of broke that generational curse, now being more into the health part and watching what we eat, you know, understanding health and how it relates to the body and how it relates to the mind, because your brain and your stomach coincide with each other. They work together. So I guess I'm now teaching my children that the food aspect of it, and realizing, becoming more health conscious and more awareness and understanding your body and things of that nature. So I guess I ended with that. If Jason had any more questions or anybody else, but
just the Angela.
I was trying to.
So, first, I'm Angela. I'm a pray for you personally, because you have a 12-year-old daughter, and girls alone are, something else. And to answer the question, the most effective ways to respond to men and children during this quarantine, I have two sophomores, a sophomore in college and a sophomore in high school. They're both athletes. This is my son. He's a college football player.
Justin.
And I'm trying to, it's a lot harder with the girl, because as a 16-year-old girl, they're just going through all kinds of everything. But I've been trying to just have communication with her. She's been, her and her brother work out, and, they're just trying. I try to be involved with them and have conversation with them. It's hard when you're, depending on the age group. And, them not being with their friends that they're normally with, and just missing out on a whole chunk of
what they're used to with going to school and socializing. And, you know, yeah, they have the Zoom and they have, you know, Facebook and all that stuff, but none of it is the same. And just trying to find activities for them, you know, provided we're in Indianapolis and, you know, it's the weather's not always conducive to going outside. It's been pretty decent. So, you know, going outside, just trying to get my daughter outside is, you know, she'll go out and work out, but, you know, she would rather be in the house. And it's kind of just trying to find something effective for her with her cooking or something like that. You know, that's all I got.
Love it. Excuse me. She just needs her purpose. Once she finds her purpose in her assignment, she can't sit still. Or if she does sit still, it's according to her purpose and her assignment. But this is what I want to ask y'all. As far as getting through to your daughters. Because I'm just now coming into what you're talking about, and I totally feel you. So I'm literally like, I want to establish ground early. And hopefully, you know, like they say, the baby elephant, you tie a chain around it. So then when it's older, you just tie a rope around it and you don't have to. I use that analogy for mothers with boys. You hit them with that chain knowledge at a young age. And when your body becomes a little flimsy rope, that elephant still won't challenge you. It won't challenge your pull, if that makes sense. But one thing, and again, you just got to get creative. I literally sit and be like, who do they like and who do they look up to? So a lot of people see me wearing this ring. Sometimes I wear this ring because it's a championship to the people I'm dealing with. So in my home, the high school is a really, 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 really dope place, right? And I have little girls and an older girl living here. So I want to hit 3 birds with 1 stone, right? So I find out what's dope and who she looks up to. And the high school is really, really huge to them, their generation. So I got invited to speak to the athletic basketball team, and I took her with me to show her that the boys or whoever you look up to, who you think are like really, really dope, I'm cussing them out in front of you. Not cussing them out for real, but going off on them and help making sense of it, making sense of life. So when she sees that, challenging me in the home is kind of like, what do you know? Because the people you look up to is listening to me like, yeah, you're right. I never thought about it like that. Coach Miller or Mr. Miller or whatever. So you're literally preventing any type of problems by showing you like what's up. But again, sometimes you got to go through other people. Because my aunt did that. You like, you can't tell your cousin, I can't tell my cousin, your little cousin nothing. He ain't gonna listen. I done tried everything. All I heard was, he ain't listening to you. That's all it is. And every parent got to understand that. If they don't listen to you, you got to look at yourself again. How many times do you don't listen to yourself? And where did the little you come from? The bigger you who don't listen to yourself. Sometimes you had to listen to other people. So again, who are they listening to? And it could be the waggest stuff in the world. They like 2 + 2 = 4. That's deep. And you like, but you got to go through that 2 + 2 = 4 to get to them. And then pray as they grow. They like, yeah, 2 + 2 = 4 is not that deep. And you like, yeah, I know, but I was just with you, where you were at. If that makes sense. I just wanted to add that because that's a really deep question for parents trying to maintain when we're out of the quarantine. So maintaining when we're all together, I know that's challenging, especially when they're older.
Hey, Jason. We are within that 10 minutes. I know we mentioned we was going to allow them to have a chance to give their bios, their social medias, a little bit about who they are with a business, maybe even their Cash App as well. I don't know if you want to go into that now. Remember, it's 1 minute. You can talk about what you do. Of course, give some destinations or where people can find you at as far as social media or whatnot. You can start whoever wants to start first.
I'll go first.
I'll go because I got Yeah, I gotta get off. Well, on social media, it's at Brother Thomas X. As far as Instagram, at Brother Thomas X. Facebook at Brother Tom. Facebook is Thomas X. What else am I giving, bro? Cliff?
Yeah, just what you do. What's your affiliation?
Okay. I'm an educator. I'm an admin, but also an educator through the Nation of Islam, assistant minister to Brother Nuri Muhammad, with followers of the Honorable Mensch Louis Farrakhan, along with being an admin, speaking schools really around the Midwest. And during this quarantine, just been speaking to different administrators around the country as to figuring out what's going to be going on from this point forward, because education, as far as brick and mortar, will never be the same as it has been. And Cash App, Brother Thomas X. That's BRO Thomas X. Brother Thomas X. That's it.
Thank you, Brother Thomas. Appreciate
All right, peace. Man, thank
Peace,
everybody who is on here, and peace and blessings to all of you all.
Much love. Who's next?
I go.
Here we go.
Robert Russell, born and raised in Indianapolis, Indiana. Been living in Atlanta for about 11 years now. I'm a maintenance director by trade. I work for 5-Star Senior Living. I am the maintenance and housekeeping director for 5-Star's biggest senior living facility in Atlanta, the second biggest facility in the state of Georgia. I'm on social media. You can find me on IG at Rob Russ Worldwide. On Facebook, you can find me in my name, Robert Russell. My Cash App is $RobRuss5. As far as business, I'm a part of the biggest and best travel club in the world called World Ventures. So if y'all want the cheap trips, if y'all need telemedicine, online shopping for the low, y'all can holler at me and find me on any of them platforms. I know travel's down a little bit now, but best believe Warren Buffett didn't sit there and spend millions and millions of dollars buying Delta for no reason. Travel will be back up. I got some packages right now to where you can lock in the lowest prices. Themed trips like Dominican Republic, 4 days, 3 nights, 4 and 5-star, all-inclusive resorts for like $250, and them prices will be good for the next 2 years. You can change the dates, you can change the places, and it's locked in. So holla at me.
One more thing, Rob, I don't want you to go too far into it. Are you working on a mentoring program that's going to be historic? And again, don't share too much, but are you working on the mentoring program that's going to get back to youth all around the world?
Absolutely.
10 seconds, Brother Rob. 10 seconds.
In 10 seconds, what I can tell you is what every black man needs that's come from the bottom, just like I am. I'm working on something that not only is it going to change my life, it's going to change America. It's going to change Indianapolis. It's going to change Atlanta. It's going to change us. And I got a brother that's going to help me to do that.
Facts. Okay. Who's next?
I guess I'll go.
All right.
I have I work in mental health, so that's my 9 to 5, what I do. So I have clients that I work with anywhere from that have schizophrenia to autism, Down syndrome, etc. But I also have a cold pressed juice company. It's called Juice Remedy. You can find us on Instagram at juice_remedy. We also have a Facebook page. It's Juice Remedy. You can find me on Facebook. It's my name, Bradford Usher. And what we do is, as far as my cold pressed juice company, me and my wife started together. So it's all natural. It's all organic. And we've been doing it now since June of last year. And kind of in this quarantine thing, business is kind of picking up a lot for us because people are trying to get healthy. They're trying to stay healthy. I'm a big proponent on health and wellness. I stress it a lot to my people. Those who know me well know how passionate I am about that. And I'm just trying to change lives and get people to become more health conscious and more aware As well, I sell sea moss as well. Getting into other herbal medicines. Been selling a ton of sea moss since, like I said, everybody's trying to prevent, getting sick. So that's pretty much it. That's me. And we also have a website, www.juiceremedy.org. And we ship nationwide. We also deliver locally during this quarantine especially. So that's it. Just trying to change lives one person at a time.
Love it. All right. Who's next?
I guess I'll go since I'm off mute. Hello, everybody. Dominique Bryant. I'm the Executive Director of Inspired Learning Institute. I am a social worker by trade. I have been in the social service field for 20 years. And right now, my focus is on working with what the industry calls opportunity youth and young adults. So I work with young people between the ages of 13 to 24. I have a youth center here in Houston, Texas, in historic 5th Ward, where we specialize in leadership, life skills training, and apprenticeship training. And so my passion is making a place, a space for young people to develop themselves in the same way in which adults spend thousands of dollars to develop themselves. So, and I put all of my pertinence in the chat, so all my Instagram and all that stuff you can find in the chat.
Much love.
You have internships, Dominique?
I do, actually.
I'm Angela. I'm a nurse and a certified surgical first assistant, and that's it. I don't have any businesses or,
Do you have a son that's going to take over the college, not only in sports, but mentally as well? All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Can we share a little bit of that? Like, just a little bit, real quick. Can we get 20 seconds? DJ CJ?
That's it, bro.
Okay. All right. 20 seconds.
How y'all doing? I'm Justin Helm. Like she said, I'm a student athlete at Valparaiso University. I've just inquired on a new journey with being an ambassador for the mental gas station. And I'm pretty excited about that. And I think it'll help my generation a lot because, like, the meeting that we just had, I saw that a lot of us go through the same things. But, yeah.
Love it. Much love. Hey, DJ CJ, if it weren't for him, we would have been all over the place tonight. CC and Regina.
I'll just go really quick after
Okay.
Justin because he mentioned he's the ambassador for the Mental Gas Station, which is a program under a joint venture that Jason and I are doing called Going Higher. And it's where we the focus is on the mental and spiritual well-being of college students. And I'm a bridal wear designer, which I know has nothing to do with that, but okay.
She's killing it in that game too. She's killing it in that game. Just like Regina is. That's on billboards. She's on billboards and stuff.
Hello. My name is Regina Warren. Thank you for having me on tonight. And that's Captain Regina Warren. I've been in the military for 19 plus years. I started out as a private and promoted through the ranks. I currently own the 360-degree model boot camp. And in that boot camp, I focus on not just model etiquette, but also how to carry themselves, professionalism, marketing, branding, making it a business. It's not about being cute. And then also I do Beauties Incorporated. Beauties Incorporated is a non-for-profit organization. I'm currently in 2 schools right now. I am in School 103 on the east side, and then I'm also in Providence Crystal Ray High School. And in both places, I use project management to help the ladies form into who they are. A lot of them want to go places and want to do things, they just don't know how to do it. And so I use project management to mentor them. And when I do that, they end up finding their ways and gravitating to the specific areas of a project and figuring out what they like most. And then also I do a lot of other fashion show consulting and different plans and operations. And I've been doing operations in the military for the past 10 years. And so that's what I do.
Love it.
And I'm a model. So yeah.
And she's doing that on a high level too. High level, because people don't explain their dopeness as much on here as they should. Just like this man right here that probably won't explain his dopeness, but I would have listened in on any parts that he leaves off. DJ CJ, you do a lot of stuff. So again, I know you can't share everything you do because again, how Magic told Maverick Carter, some deals is here, some deals is here. I know what you be doing. But whatever you feel comfortable sharing, since you a Renaissance man, can you share all the stuff that you do or some of the stuff that you do for the community or communities around?
Well, first, let me say to Jason and everyone else that was on the call and have been on these calls in the past, thank you much. I know I don't say much. I try not to, unless something really sparks me, but I have been just taking notes because I build a lot of talking points based off of what I hear other people talking about. I'm sitting in my podcast studio right now trying to look important or whatever. But anyway.
Did you build that? Did you build it or did it come like that?
Yeah, it was built. But anyway.
He's dope. He's
dope. We have discussions about, relevant topics. Some of the things that Dominique talked about tonight, responsibility. Putting people in places to have discussions about how we can be have self-accountability. So we talk about different things to that nature. We talk about male and female relationships, you name it. My passion is young people. I have an organization called Project U, and U is an acronym for Youth Organizing for Unity. We do workshops, we do enrichment camps. We've been doing a lot of Zooms, obviously, since we've been quarantined. Those young people consist of young people that are learning literacy, learning leadership, learning how to duplicate themselves and other young people. So we do a lot of different things in the youth organization that's called Project U. This station that we have, our little podcast, is called the Talk Back Teach Back Show. We're on Facebook, the Talk Back Teach Back, Project U Talk Back Teach Back Show. We also have our Project U page on there. You can find me on social media at MYT DJ CJ. That's MYT DJ CJ, last name Muhammad, MUHAMMAD. I do that. Somebody just hit me up the other day. They said they want me to start doing on the beat reporting in the neighborhood with some of this COVID-19. So you'll be seeing some stories coming out with that. I do a lot, but I enjoy doing it. You know what I'm saying? I don't do it for accolades. I don't do it for fame. I do it because I love to do it. I've been working with Jason for probably, I don't know, Jason, 8 years or so, close to 8 years.
Yeah, long time.
I've been knowing Regina for a long time, been seeing her grow in her craft. So I've just been inspired. I've been inspired, to just be a fly on the wall to listen to these conversations. But I'm sure I left a lot of things out, but thank you for giving it up.
No doubt. Okay, and I'm going to end with my stuff. I feel led to share this, even though I don't really do this a lot. And I want to do this with the college students a lot, but I feel like a lot of college students are going to listen in on this topic. First of all, again, my name is Jason Miller. I do personal, professional, and player development. The personal development is I like to deal with a lot of VIPs, a lot of celebrities. I'm going back to that. And then the professional development is providing solutions to Fortune 500 companies in the area of sales and just like I said, just strategic planning and growth. And then player development, which is my heart, providing solutions to sports clubs. And I'm doing really well in basketball and trying to build my resume in football. Baseball is kind of boring. But I'm just playing. So I'm a baseball player. email me. If you want to email me, WC, so the letter W, the letter C, and then world, and then the number 7 at gmail.com. I've been ready for this quarantine, so I'm literally going to start doing a lot of more private and public workshops just for the stuff that I offer in personal, professional, and player development. But I want to leave y'all with this. I don't care who's watching right now, because remember, this is pre-recorded. If anybody says something on here that changed your life, again, this is a new day. This is a new way of thinking. This is a new way of behaving. So let's do something new right now. Can you please Cash App them? I don't care if it's $1. I don't care if it's $30. I don't care if it's $1 million. Y'all send $1 million over here if y'all go do that $1 million stuff. But if y'all, whatever y'all do, I don't care what anybody says. Send them something and just, again, watch how that returns to you. So again, DJ CJ, anybody, Rob, anybody, send it to them. And anybody that was on the talk tonight, that somebody said something, send it to them. That happened in session 1 and that happened in session 2. And I'm just sending energy of that happened in session 3. Because I really think that's dope. And I really feel like if we can support each other through information and products, I don't know, that sounds like some new way of living just because we're going through a new way of living. Anybody else? And we're going to cut it here. But anybody else want to add anything?
Just thank you, both of you, so much for everything you're doing and bringing these conversations to the public. It really is needed, and I'm personally so grateful.
Jason, I just want to say thanks again for inviting me for this chat. Like I said, I've never done nothing like this before, so this is pretty new to me, but it was pretty cool, man. I enjoyed it. I appreciate all the gems everybody dropped. I appreciate the gems you always dropping. So yeah, I'm just appreciative. Much gratitude. Much gratitude.
Much love. Okay. Everybody good? Let's go out and be great, y'all. And again, be on the lookout for some future shows. Me and DJ CJ got some stuff cooking. All right? Peace and love.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank y'all.